What up? We back with so last time that we did some notes, we did graphing linear. Ooh, sorry about my nail polish. That's ugly. We did graphing linear equations. So today we're down here at writing linear equations. Should be on page 43. If it's not your page 43, just write whatever page you have it on. And let's go ahead and flip to page 43 and let's write some lines. Did you guys know that linear meant line? Linear line, get it? All right, so here we go. We're going to write some linear equations. And to do this, first you must identify the slope and the y-intercept, which is what we've been doing. Except today you're going to identify them using a graph. So as I'm talking about this, make sure you're writing this down. In step 2, you're going to write in slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. And you're going to always simplify your m, which is your slope. All right, so it looks like we're ready for you here. And here we go. Get ready.
Okay, so on this one, you have a page very similar to yesterday's. I'm going to do the exact same thing, and I'm just going to cut the bottom off and trim the sides. So make sure you don't cut off the other side. Be careful. Leave the top up there. Okay, all of these are going to actually already have a line on the graph. So make sure you're starting on the side with the 6 graphs. Okay, so like we said, the first step is to identify your slope and y-intercept. So first thing, just like yesterday, I want you to go ahead and write m and b equals on every single problem because you're going to need to know your m and your b. So once you have m and b written, okay, to start with the easiest thing to find, your y-intercept. You're always going to start with your y-intercept. And y-intercept on this problem is crossing at positive 2. So just for y-intercept, put 2. Now, you'll see that they gave you 2 dots. So you can do this of one of both ways. You can start with your left dot and work your way to your right dot. So if you're going left to right, you would be going up 2, so 2 over, and you would be running 5. Okay, that's one way you can do it. The other way you can do it, and I'm going to show you in a different color, is if you go your right dot to your left dot, you would have to go down 2, and you would run to the left 5, so that's negative 5, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive 2/5. So you get the same answer either way you go. Now, before I finish plugging in this problem and getting my answer for step 2, right in slope-intercept form, check yourself. This line is going uphill. Did we get a positive slope? If you got a positive slope, you probably have this right. So all you have to do is do y equals, and you're going to plug in your m, which is 2/5, keep the x, and your b is a positive 2, so plus 2. Okay, we're going to repeat over here on this next problem. I'm going to start with my y-intercept, and my y-intercept is at 1. Now, me personally, I like to go left dot to right dot, so I showed you both ways on the first one. Now I'm going to go left to right just because I like to go in reading order. So I'm going to go from this left dot down to this right dot. So since I just said I'm moving down, that's my first move. I'm going to go down 3, and I'm going to run 1. Well, negative 3 over 1 is the same thing as negative 3. When you're writing it in an equation, you don't have to leave it as a fraction. So I'm going to do y equals, plug in my m, which is negative 3, keep x, and since b is a positive 1, I put plus 1. Moving to my next example, starting with my y-intercept, I start at 3. I'm going to go left dot to right dot, and since I'm going up, I go up 3, and I run to the right 2. Well, 3 over 2 cannot simplify, so I'm just going to plug it in. Y equals 3 over 2, keep x, and since my b is 3, I put plus 3 because it's a positive 3. I'm going to check this line real quick. This line goes uphill, positive slope. I probably have it right. Okay, for the next example, I start down at negative 2. That's where I'm crossing the y-axis at. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my left dot, and to get from my left dot to my right dot, I must move down, and I'm moving down 2. Well, down means negative, so negative 2 over, and I run to the right 3. Right's positive, so negative 2/3. This cannot simplify, and my line is going downhill, so I should have a negative slope, which I do. So I'm going to plug this in. Y equals, put negative 2/3 in m spot, keep the x, and since b is negative this time, we're going to do minus 2. Okay, for the next two examples, my y-intercept is crossing at -3, and that is my left dot. So I've got to go up to get to my right dot. So I'm going up 4, and I'm running 4. Okay, 4 over 4 is not your slope. You must simplify. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay, my line's going uphill. That's a positive slope, and I got a positive number. So I'm going to do y equals 1x minus 3, or you could just do x minus 3, whichever one you want to write. It's okay to do either. For the last example, on the front, I am crossing at positive 4 on the y-axis. I'm going to start at my left dot, and it takes me moving up 2 to get to my next dot and over to the right 1. 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2. So I have y equals 2x plus 4. My slope is positive. This line goes uphill. So flipping to the back. Okay, these are the exact same, except the last two are just multiple choice. So for this first example, m equals b equals, my b is right at 0. I'm crossing right through the origin. Now I have to move down to get to the next point, and I'm going down 3 and right 3, which is -1. So when I plug this in, I have y equals -1x, and I'm not going to put the plus 0. Or you could just have y equals -x. You don't have to write the negative. You don't have to write the 1 if you don't want it. Okay, the last one before multiple choice. My y-intercept is -4, and it takes me going up 1 and right 2. This is an uphill line, so positive slope. So I'm going to do y equals, plugging in my m, I have 1/2 x. Sorry, that's an x. And then -4 for my y-intercept. Okay, for the last two problems, these are multiple choice. This might be something similar to what you'll see on a test when you take them. They'll give you like an equation, and you have to find the graph that matches. So which graph represents the line y equals 1/3 x minus 2? It's easiest to start with your y-intercept, and my y-intercept is -2. So I'm going to look at A. A is not starting at -2, so I don't want it. B is not starting at -2, so I don't want it. C does start at -2, and D also starts at -2. So now I'm going to look at my slope, which the 1/3 tells me to go up 1 and right 3. So I'm going back to C, going up 1, right 3. And if you notice, that point's not on the line, so C can't be my answer. But if I look at D, if I go up 1 and right 3, that fell on the line, so D is my answer. Okay, for the next one, they gave you a line and they want you to find the equation that matches. So this is just like what we were doing. M equals and B equals. Start with your y-intercept. It's crossing down here at -1. And now, if you notice, they didn't give you any points, so you just have to find another point. And when you're finding a point, it has to cross perfectly through these little crosshairs. So that would be a point, that would be a point, that would be a point. You can pick any point you want. But I'm going to stay here at this -1, and I'm going to move to the point right below it. To move right below it, I must go down 2 and right 1. Well, -2 over 1 simplifies to -2. So my equation has to be y equals -2x minus 1. And the only one that matches that is C. Okay, we're going to go ahead and glue this in our journals, and we're going to finish up the worksheet from the other day. If you have any questions, please let me know.